All right, welcome back, you radical, free radical independents. My name is Dave, and you are not Dave. You are here because you're watching Dave. And this, by the way, this channel is not about me. As much as I'd like to make it about me, it's about us. It's about Tulsi Gabbard. It's about the future of this country. About possibly maybe a third party emerging. Could it be a Green Party? Could it be an independent party? Could it be the Libertarian Party? Could it just be a complete overhaul of the Democratic Party? I don't know about that one. Tulsi Gabbard, certainly over the last 72 hours, has become a new force on the political scene. Her tweet storm has just inspired a whole bunch of people who weren't engaged to now become engaged. As many people out there that don't like Donald Trump, there are an equal number of people who don't like Hillary Clinton. And there's a reason for that similarity. Look, Trump got elected because, again, he threw this giant Molotov cocktail into the political establishment and challenged all of the norms. So much so that like a guy like Francis Rooney, who is in my backyard, is quitting Congress. He doesn't like Donald Trump. He doesn't like the things that Trump says. He may not even like some of the policies that Trump is trying to implement. He's tired of his own party, apparently. I think he's only been there for one term. Maybe two. I can't remember. I think he got elected once, and then he got reelected, and now he's done. He's doing a little self-imposed term limits. I applaud him for that. But Trump, love him or hate him, there was something about him that triggered people on the left, but there was also some other stuff there that got people thinking, what if we had a president who really did represent us? Now, the reality is that on a lot of issues regarding income and wealth inequality and healthcare and the environment, Trump is MIA. He's trying to be somewhat there on the issues of foreign policy, but is mostly being controlled by the foreign policy establishment. And whether we like it or not, whether you were a Trump supporter or not, you have to come to grips with the fact that, as the talking heads used to say, same as it ever was. Now, Tulsi Gabbard has taken an incredible amount of negative press because she's decided to have different views on our role in the world. Whoop-de-doo, right? Good for her. It's about time someone stood up. Now, the dislike for Tulsi Gabbard, though, I think, it has to do with something even more than just what she stands for. It's Tulsi Gabbard is a better person than most people that I know. And I've already talked about this in other videos, but I wanted to make it plain, even if Tulsi Gabbard was a closet alcoholic, all right, which I don't think she is. On the outside, and if she was, she wouldn't be able to do all the things that she's achieving. She's setting the kind of example that you would want your kids to set. She's setting the kind of example that would make you proud as a parent if that were your daughter. Imagine Tulsi Gabbard was your daughter. She's 38 years old. She's been in the Army National Guard for what? 16 years, 17 years. She's been a member of Congress for 7. She's served as a medic. She's seen the worst of the worst things. She's been in Congress for a number of years, and she's been on a number of very high-profile committees, and she understands what we are doing as a country to other countries. She understands that. She understands it from the inside. She knows how this ugly sausage is made, and she wants to tell everybody else about it. But everybody else in the news media is like this. They're not listening. Now, Tulsi Gabbard isn't just a military veteran. She's also somebody that likes to surf. She's in great physical condition. Now, I'm not, by the way, as a man looking at Tulsi Gabbard, I'm not trying to be sexist or condescending. I'm not ogling Tulsi Gabbard. She's happily married. I'm happily married. This is an observation. She's in great physical condition. She surfs. She serves in the military. Her workout routine, as I said on Twitter, would likely kill a few of her Democratic primary opponents. Now, why am I going here with this? Why are, with all the other things out there, with all the real issues out there, why am I going here? Here's why I'm going here. Because there's more to this than just not liking Tulsi Gabbard's policies. There's something else going on here, folks. And I think it might have to do with jealousy, with animosity. No, we can't have a person like that. We can't have somebody that we can all look up to and be proud of in our country, because that would mess up our dichotomy. Whether you believe in the outrage culture or not, I tend to think that the outrage culture is real. That people, rather than what Lincoln said, people make up their mind to be about as happy as they want to be. That people wake up in the morning and they're angry. Tulsi Gabbard in this photo is actually angry. She's angry because she's at Standing Rock. And she says, without clean water, we really have no economy. And what's happening all over the country? And Jordan Chariton, who is a great journalist here on YouTube. And when I say journalist, I mean he's a kick-ass, hardcore, real journalist. Okay, he's been on these issues. Flint, he's been on that. And that is, by the way, Flint is not just in Flint. It's all over the country. It just, maybe, if you donate to his channel, maybe he can get out there and cover a few more of these issues. He is a great journalist, and I am just a guy talking off the cuff, whereas he is a guy doing hardcore research. And I appreciate him. I may not see eye to eye with every one of these progressive commentators, because I think some of them are too far in the tank for Bernie Sanders. I mean, they need to open up and take a look at Tulsi Gabbard and say, you know what? Bernie's a great candidate, but Tulsi is a better candidate. And she, by the way, and she's a candidate that makes people uncomfortable. Because she's living a life, a Renaissance-style life, that seems to fly in the face of the mediocrity we've all grown accustomed to. And Trump, by the way, has certainly exacerbated that problem. Your kids wake up in the morning and say, hey, the president's on TV, huh? All right, well, and again, I voted for Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. Full disclosure, I voted for him. I should have voted for Jill Stein, but I voted for Donald Trump. I came from the right originally. I was kind of libertarian. I thought Trump was anti-interventionalist. He sort of kind of is, but he isn't, because he's allowed some of the worst people in the world to be in his administration. Anybody who would allow John Bolton to have a post in the White House. Yeah, Bolton has been fired, and all much for ceremony and pomp and circumstance, because according to Tulsi Gabbard and a few other people, the new hires aren't much better. But when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, what is it that makes all of these neoliberals come out of the woodwork and dislike Tulsi Gabbard? I can almost guarantee you it has more to do with Tulsi's demeanor. The way she seems to be spot on when it comes to almost every issue. She's nuanced. On abortion, we've talked about this. On healthcare, we've talked about this. And by the way, she's not a neo-lib. She's not caving. She's not, the humanist dude who went over to TYT. Oh, she's just a centrist. That's really funny. Her foreign policy alone so incredibly flies in the face of that statement ought to be retracted and put out there as libel. She's a centrist? No. Here's why you think she's a centrist. Because she went into the military. She volunteered to go into the United States military. She did something that you wouldn't do. Because, it's too tough. I wouldn't do that. And not only that, I don't agree with our policy, so why would I go into the military? Well, at the time, Tulsi Gabbard wanted to serve her country. Now, for all of those people who are saying, well, she was really a hardcore conservative, and she's trying to make amends with her conservative past. Okay, past is the optimum word. Past. P-A-S-T. I love all these people who come around and say, well, she was once very against gays and gay rights and was for, conversion therapy? I think it was her dad that was for that, by the way. So, again, more guilt by association. How many people, raise your hand, how many people are different from your parents? Like, way different. Like, your parents raised you, and yeah, you might be starting to say some of the things that they used to say, but you're not philosophically, politically, you don't even like the same sports teams, for crying out loud. But yet, Tulsi's father. Tulsi's father? Really? What's your father like? What's your dad like? What does he say? What is your mom like? Amazing. Amazing. It's like all of these people, by the way, that rail against evangelical Christianity about all the stuff that they do, all the crazy, televangelists and so forth, and they're doing the same crap, just in a different way. They are. They got their little church, and they're bringing people into their church. Come on, hey, it's the Church of Kalinsky. Come on in. Well, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. And I like Kyle a lot. There are a lot of commentators I really like. But secular talk, BS. It's a philosophy. It's the same thing. It's a religion. It's a religion. Okay? It's just different. It has different rules. You follow a different God. You have different tenets. You pray differently. You don't say pray, because that would be against the religion. I'm having fun here, folks. Look, here's the bottom line. I really care about our country. And we have an opportunity to elect a woman who would unite the country, who we could look up to, who we could be really proud of, instead of being embarrassed. Imagine being proud of your president and not being embarrassed. Wow. Tim Black, that guy. Well, she's done, because it says Medicare choice. She's all done on my channel. She's going to go for Bernie, who is going to talk to a war general, who's going to tell him a whole bunch of people over here are going to get slaughtered unless the United States military goes in to prevent the slaughter. The military who goes into slaughter is going to prevent the slaughter. Okay. And Bernie's going to sit there and go, okay, all right. Medicare for all. Sorry. Look, Medicare for all is really important. It's a really important issue. However, I think endless war is more important than Medicare for all. Because if you continue endless war, there's not going to be enough money for Medicare for all. Something's going to give. And I know people will tell me, well, Dave, and I agree with this statement, by the way, well, we always have money for these bloated military budgets, so what you're telling me is that we have to take the money from the bloated military budget and give it over to Medicare for all. Just let's do Keynesian economics and print the money. No. Because guess what? Most likely what happens to the money is it doesn't have the value that it once had. And somebody along this tree of activity is going to want to get paid eventually. And they're going to want their money to have buying power. So at a certain point, we do have to kind of get our fiscal house in order. And the way we could do that is to reduce the military budget and bring that money back to people who truly need it. Healthcare, the environment, infrastructure, the homeless population. See, the guy that I follow, the church that I follow, the guy who was in charge of that church, the guy who was the leader of that church, he was poor, he was a migrant, he was a part-time carpenter, he preached every so often, he used words, he used actions. I don't know. I don't know. If you're setting up your own church channel though, and you're bringing in disciples and you're telling them, hey, you got to believe in what I say, and here's all of my tenets of my faith, and then you're going to tell everybody that it's, a secular thing. It's just a different thing. It's not secular. It's not secular. Everyone has a God. They just, it's how they serve the God, or how they set the God up to be something, and how they make it. You can make, I don't know, music your God. You could make whatever it is. You could make your family a God. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's certainly not going to give you any kind of a spiritual comfort. Look, I've gotten way off on a tangent here to say that there are a bunch of people out there that do not like Tulsi Gabbard because she is a better human being than they are. And that would go for the entire TYT channel. That would go for all of the mainstream media. I mean, Jake Tapper, what business does Jake Tapper have asking Major Tulsi Gabbard about foreign policy? Unless they sit down and have a private conversation and she explains to him what's happening in Syria. And has him just shut up and not talk for 30 minutes while she explains what's happening there. Why? I mean, and on camera, hey, you got 30 seconds to answer this question. And then you've got the worst of the worst saying that she's Russian and she's an asset. I mean, to use the term Russian asset, you have to be very well versed in CIA talking points. I know some people that are deep. I'll just say that. I'm not going to go any further. I know a few people that are deep into this. And they say things are getting worse and worse. And that they know we're coming. They just don't know when. But they know we're coming and they're trying to stop this. I mean, do you think when President Bush, President Clinton, or President Obama got to the White House that they were just, hey, you're in charge now? Nope. No way. No way. Because Obama campaigned on hope and change. And he gave us stagnation and very little in the way of change. You can have all the hope you want. You can build your own hope. Doesn't mean there's going to be any change. And when it came to George W. Bush, he was his dad's little angel. He did what his dad could have only dreamed to have done. Clinton was too busy, doing his thing to really care about anybody. And in a way, that worked to a lot of our advantage because he could do probably less damage because he was not at all that focused. He was such a gifted speaker and empathizer that people just thought, oh, what a wonderful man. And then, of course, we had the Monica thing. And I know that's his own personal thing, right? And that shouldn't affect policy. But wouldn't, again, you like a president that you could actually look up to? One that you would say, yeah, that's my president. Tell my daughter, grow up and be like Tulsi Gabbard. A lot of people are very jealous of this woman. And that's all I'm going to say. See you soon, everybody.